We're going to fix this Toyota up, throw a new alternator in it, and show you how to reset the idle. Just sit back and relax. You got the car man coming at you from the RV. I can't wait to bring this new DIY straight to you. I got one question, baby. Are you ready to save some money? Woo! Grab a 10mm. Loosen our little connection up here, slide it out of the way. That way we don't have to risk any kind of electrical issues. Alright guys, you see the shroud here, it's got a couple of these little pins in it. Long story short, just pop them in, slide it out. It's got 2 tabs on each corner. Go over there, pop them out, and just kind of work it off the headlights. It's kind of nestled in there. This is going to give you a lot of access, and access is going to come at a premium because it's really tight space down here. It only takes a few seconds to do. Hey guys, the engine cover is completely voluntary. You don't have to take this off to get clear access to the alternator. However, it does make things a little easier to see as far as lighting and stuff like that. And especially in a situation where I'm videotaping, I'm going to go ahead and remove it. But when you do remove it, keep in mind that there is a little rubber pieces that are supposed to be in here. You see that will get stuck on the studs coming out. So you want to make sure that you don't lose them or pull too hard and they break off. No big deal, just a little more access. Alright guys, now I want you to notice the 12mm bolt that holds the dipstick on. We're going to remove that, and I would definitely suggest doing this because it, as you can see, immediately gives you access. And the next thing we're going to do is take off this heat shield from the manifold. So the next thing we're going to concentrate on is the 3 10mm bolts for the heat shield. I've removed the lower one because it's not good on the view anyway. And we're just going to do this with the hopes of moving it out of the way. Real easy to do. Then we'll turn around and we're going to slide it. Kind of like this. And as you can clearly see, it is completely out of the way. Now guys, the first thing we're going to notice is the main power supply. Here she is. Go ahead and grab that 10mm. Now what I always do with these is I'll go ahead and put them right back on because you never know when you might need this because you don't know if the next one's got it or not. As far as the harness itself, it's got a little rubber cover on it. Push tab right here on the side. Out she goes. Now, there is a wiring loom that comes up. It's got 1 10mm here, and then on the very top of the engine, right out of your view screen, I have another 10mm, and that just makes that wiring loom a little easier to move around. So let's see if we can get that out of here. Looks like it's not going to be a problem, and I'll go ahead and once again just stick that right back there. It's not going to be a problem when it comes out. And then of course there's one right up at the top as well. Alright guys, this is the bracket underneath the alternator. I have removed the oil dipstick filler tube as well as the heat shield, and I want you to see there's plenty of room to do it. But in fact there is 2 12mm bolts. I'm talking about the copper one right in front of you, the copper color. That's a 12mm, and then hidden just out of sight, you can see it clearly with the light if I had the ability to put the angle on it. And you access that with a 1/4 inch 12mm with maybe a 3-inch extension. Just go ahead and pop both of those out because that's the last thing we got to do on this side. And there's a wiring loom attached to it to the crank sensor. So we don't want to mess with that, and we can mess with it, but let's get the alternator out of the way first, and then we'll reattach it. I'll show you how to put it back together at the end. So here's the used one we're going to install out of the 2015, and this right here is the silver bolt that you're seeing, but this is where the bracket goes. You see right there, right beside it, is the 12mm bolt that is attached, in fact, to the alternator. Now this right here is where your wiring harness is at, which is not a problem. But you can see even where they removed it, they had actually broke that off. We don't want to do that. We don't actually want to have any kind of stress at all. So let's just remove both of those bolts. Okay, with the tire removed, let's go ahead and get rid of this little shield. Okay guys, right here, get you a little Allen wrench that you can put in the tensioner. We're going to pull the tensioner back. As you see, I have a little 14mm here with an extension. Hopefully the camera is out of the way. Hold on, I might need to move the camera just a little bit out of the way. A little bit further out of the way. Alright, trying to keep you in focus there. Okay, there we go. So there we go. Just push it in. Okay. Okay, so this is the bottom 14mm bolt. You see it way at the top of the screen. I'm going to go ahead and focus in on it. And we're going to remove that. And long story short, you got access, but it's going to be an impossibility for me to videotape, but I just wanted to show you its location and that it is easy and acceptable. So let's go ahead and get that bolt out of there. 14mm off right here at the top. You can see it kind of wants to slide out for me, but I wanted to show you how I take this out. The cables that we were talking about on the side here for these wiring harnesses, it's very crucial that they come to the front and just kind of get them to clear. And then just want to kind of bring it out of its little egg there. And you can see right where the little white spots right here, kind of right at the beginning of the... And you should just be able to turn this ever so lightly. And out she comes. Okay guys, so you can clearly see right now what I was talking about on this. It would have made it very difficult to come out if it was still attached. That's why I take it off That's really the secret to make this come out pretty easy. So my first tip when you go to install this, number one, put it in very easily, just like I said. They keep you a little Phillips head or some type of small screwdriver that you can run through here to help you align the first alignment at the top. Go ahead and hand tighten your first guide bolt right there for the mounting. And then the next step that I think is really will save you a lot of time and aggravation is if you take the bottom mount and go ahead and slide your hand on the outside of this pipe here and kind of work it in there to where you can hand start the bottom mount. Now, it's easy once you hand start the bottom mount from the underneath to use, say, a 1/4 inch with a 12mm socket, but you're eventually going to run out of room. So at that point, switch to a 1/2 inch because it has a longer socket, and you'll clear the pulley and it'll allow it to drive down, so it's all good. Now, the only other little thing I think that might help you is on the brass bracket that's on the third bracket on the back here. I would suggest putting in the bolt to the block hand tight, snug, and then what I always do, people use different things, but I always keep a jar of Vaseline, and then you just put it in the, you just go ahead and just put it all up in here. And what that does is it allows you to have something to hold. Now, why do I say do that? because there's nothing more aggravating than trying to put this bolt in and it falling 100 times. And it will if you don't do this or have some type of mechanism to keep it in place. Other than that, real simple. And I'm going to put some charts up here on the belt diagram. Also give you instructions to reset the idle. Thank you so much, guys. Subscribe, and I hope you really dug it today. I was trying to give you a good video. Alright, see ya!